Joining us now, we have Dr. Tracey Wilen, author and prominent thought leader on the impact of technology on society, work, women's leadership, and careers. Tracey, good morning.
Oh, good morning, and congrats to that young lady. That's phenomenal.
I love that too. Okay, so March is Women's History Month, and you say here come Z women. What are Z women?
Well, that's the next generation of women. Some people describe it as the tail end of the millennials, but it's really from 1995 and younger. So that age bracket is about 9 years old to 20, 21 years old. A lot of these young adults are in high school, college, some are working and even voting. So it's a large population, about 26% of the United States now.
What interested you in looking at this age group as part of Women's Month?
You know, we all have spent a lot of time throughout March reflecting on women's contributions over the years. That's what we do in Women's History Month. And then I thought, why not this year? Why don't we look at this next generation that's coming into the workforce, because they'll be creating her story, and every generation will have a contribution. And I just thought it would be a different slant this year.
And you know, every generation has its own characteristics. So what are some of the characteristics of Generation Z women?
Well, you know, this generation, if you think about it, has grown up with different factors and experiences than previous generations. They've gone through cyclical recession, terrorism, security concerns, privacy concerns. They come from very hybrid families, so their perspective on life is going to be different. We expect them to be more autonomous, self-directed, certainly technical, and actually very entrepreneurial. Many of them have actually started initiatives very young in life, and I think they'll bring this into the workforce.
So we talk a lot about, millennials kind of making the next big splash in the workforce. How does Generation Z differentiate from the millennial generation for women?
Sure. So the Generation Y, or the millennials, have brought to us this concept of teaming at work, collective decision-making, and collaboration. Generation Z is expected to have that, but be much more independent and more autonomous in their approach to the workforce. The millennials have brought to us technology. But if you think about it, they brought us to two screens, the iPhone or an Android and a laptop. But the Z generation has 5 screens because they have gaming consoles and a variety of more smart devices. So they're expected to be not only more technical, but comfortable with using the technology. And the millennials, have, for Generation Z, for example, physical cash, I think, will be an alien concept. Many of them grown up on gift cards, PayPal, and Apple Pay. So they're much more digital. And then recession savvy. I think a lot of these Z generations have observed their parents going in and out of work, and also their millennial siblings not able to get a job after even having college. So I think these Generation Z will be much more focused and financially frugal on making sure that they have a job.
What should we expect from them in the workforce?
Well, based on their experiences growing up, a lot of us expect that they'll be very realistic and pragmatic. They also will expect to work remote. In fact, I was, talking to people about, think about it, they've grown up collaborating with thousands of people all over the world using their own remote devices. The concept of actually driving into a physical office, in fact, they won't drive, they'll probably Uber, into a physical office to narrow the scope of people that they work with is probably just in their mind, crazy, right? Why would I want to limit the scope of my opportunities and people who I work with at work? So I think that they will bring a better understanding of how to use the technologies, collaborate with people, and be much more autonomous in their approach to the work environment.
How do Generation Z men and women differ?
So to be able to characterize it, number one, I think our Z women don't even understand roles. And in fact, men and women from the Z generation don't understand roles and differentiation from that as other generations. I like to use the example of Modern Family because I think a lot of people watch the show. Alex Dunphy is sort of our Z woman. She's the middle girl. She's very focused. She's very technical. She's very concerned about her education. She's very concerned about her job. She's very concerned about her grades. She really doesn't even think about what other people think about her. Where her older sister, Wilen-Daugenti, who's our millennial Y, has been much more concerned about what her friends think of her, being popular, not as focused on the job. And then, of course, the younger boy is also a Z, very different than the middle girl, Alex. Technical for sure, but the Z girl is the one who stands out as being the one who's most driven. So I think that's how we can sort of see how the genders will differ, not only from each other, but also by generation.
How do you think women do differ by generation? I'm interested to see how the role of women has kind of evolved through the generations.
You know, every generation of women have brought a contribution, and that's why I look at that. You just think with the silent generation, the World War II generation, and the contributions that they have made, very strong women, the baby boomer women who have really equal rights and really bringing it into the workforce, our Generation X women who have been very independent, and our millennials who have really brought the whole work-life balance concepts, you know, integrating life and family, and of course technology. So each group of women really paves the way for all of us and makes some sort of contribution. Might be different than the generation before, but certainly bringing something to the workforce and just to society for all of us.
And just real quickly, what do you think the #1 thing is that parents or educators need to do to help Generation Z women reach their full potential?
I think they need to encourage our young women to take healthy risks. I think we need to encourage them to be confident, and we have to make sure that we don't bring our own generational unconscious bias into how we raise our kids. And if you're concerned about that, I would connect your kids with like role models in their own age bracket. You know, young people who are doing incredible things.
All right, Dr. Tracey Wilen, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.